Hey everyone, it's Marcy from Texas. I promised everybody on Saturday that I was going to do a series on oils, essential oils, and so here I am. So I'm a few minutes late from what I had planned, but I had a little bit of a technical difficulty, a couple of them, but I got them all straightened out now, so I'm ready to go. So right now, I'm just going to wait until Facebook can build a little bit of an audience for me. And I appreciate everybody for joining me. I do have a disclaimer that I'm going to have to read. So once everybody gets here, I will go ahead and read that disclaimer to you. It's something that we have to do because people have used essential oils for medical use, and we can't do that. So, and I hope it's having a day, having a great week. Everybody else have a week. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to read the disclaimer. Any information presented is not meant to diagnose, prescribe, cure, or prevent any illness or disease. Neither are the products mentioned here meant to do the same. This presentation is strictly for information and education purposes and is not medical advice. Please seek a qualified healthcare professional of your choice when making health choices for yourself, your family, or your pets. Now I have that out of the way. I've decided that I'm going to start with the oil of myrrh. If you are Christian, if you read the Christian Bible or the Jewish Torah, you know that myrrh is mentioned many times in the scriptures. Myrrh is actually the most mentioned oil in the Bible. The scientific name is Commiphora myrrha. It was the first oil mentioned in the Old Testament. It was mentioned in Genesis 37:25, and it's the last oil mentioned in the New Testament in Revelation 18:13. It's mentioned 156 times in Scripture. Before I get going into myrrh any further, I want to define for you one of the family of compounds, chemical compounds that are found in essential oils. It's called sesquiterpenes. Myrrh is very high in sesquiterpenes. Sesquiterpenes is a class of compounds that have 15 carbons. And they have this particular set of compounds have a direct effect on the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the amygdala, which is the center of emotion. Any essential oil that's high in sesquiterpenes is going to have a pretty woody, earthy, intense aroma. It's very heavy, so that it makes it a good oil of choice to use to extend the scents of other lighter essential oils. So let's say you make your own perfumes using essential oils. Well, you'll want to use something like myrrh to help to that aroma of that other oil to last longer. Myrrh is one of the less volatile oils. It's heavier, it's thicker. It's any of the sesquiterpenes, they spread slowly in the air. You know how alcohol evaporates really quickly? Well, the sesquiterpenes don't. They stay on a surface longer. So if you make a perfume with myrrh and your other essential oils of choice, and you put it on your skin, it's going to stay on your skin longer. There are more than 10,000 different types of sesquiterpenes. So it's probably one of the types of compounds that occurs most often in essential oils. Sesquiterpenes are oxygenating. They help you to move the oxygen. It helps move oxygen better. It's mood elevating. So if you're in a down mood, you can, any of the oils that have sesquiterpenes in them, you may find that it elevates your mood. If you will diffuse it in your room or just even smell it, hold it under your nose and smell it. Sesquiterpenes are known to have the ability to deprogram miswritten DNA, and or if it's garbled DNA. The reason that's important is if you know science and know how cells replicate, it's always possible for a little something to go wrong in one of the replications. And the sesquiterpenes, they are doing some research and finding that they may have some ability to help to unprogram that wrongly programmed DNA. Okay, now let's get to the oil of myrrh in itself. Myrrh, because of its qualities for being able to lift your mood, it's a lot of times it's used in meditation, in prayer. Myrrh is one of the oils that I use if I'm not just kind of one of those days. Just diffuse a little bit of myrrh or frankincense. They're both heavy in sesquiterpenes, but we're talking about myrrh today. And it's great. It's got one of the highest levels of sesquiterpenes. It's 62% sesquiterpenes. Historically, if you in the Bible, the story of Queen Esther was prepared for 12 months before she became the wife of the king. And 6 months of those, they used myrrh in her beauty treatments. So she had 6 months of daily applying myrrh, this essential oil of myrrh, to her skin, to make her skin beautiful and to make her skin smell just wonderful. Ancient use, pregnant women used to use myrrh because they felt like it possibly would keep them from catching a contagious disease. And it also made them feel good because if you've ever been pregnant, you know, especially as the pregnancy goes on, you start getting tired, and especially the last month, you start wondering, how is this ever going to end? So they also, in ancient times, they also believed that it protected the baby from generational curses. So that's an interest. I thought that was an interesting belief when I read that. So it's also used, they used to use it during delivery. It would, again, elevate the mood of the mom while she was in labor, because that can be a tough process. But it was also used on the umbilical cord, because it was believed to be able to keep the umbilical cord from being infected while it was drying up. And in fact, studies have been done that the umbilical cord could actually maybe dry up faster if you use myrrh on it every day. It's not going to hurt anything. It also was believed to help with stretch marks and scars. So women would love to receive a gift of the oil of myrrh, because they would be able to apply that and maybe get rid of their stretch marks. Also, it was used for all kinds of skin conditions. It was used for oral hygiene. The ancient Egyptians used it. It was one of the things that they used for embalming. And it was also known to be used as an insect repellent. The Egyptians used to make these cones of fat, and they'd put myrrh and other essential oils in it, and they'd wear it on their head. And as they were working in the hot sun, that fat would melt and take down with it all of these essential oils, but myrrh was a big one. They felt like it maybe protected them a little bit from the sun, and also because it was known to have such great skincare capabilities, it would maybe keep them their skin from being so dried and leathery for a longer period of time. I already mentioned that it was used back then to fix fragrances, and in fact it's used in many perfumes today. There are several perfumes on the market that use oil of myrrh just to set the fragrance so that it won't dissipate. It is in the same family as frankincense. Oh, another historical fact. Hippocrates, he mentioned it with more frequency than any other herb or oil in his medical book, in his medical books, over any other plant substance, whether it was a green plant or a dried herb or an essential oil. Today, it's used in Chinese traditional medicine. It's used in Ayurveda, and it's also used in aromatherapy. A lot of people use it in aromatherapy. If you look at the ingredients on natural toothpastes, you'll find out that myrrh is actually used in a lot of the natural toothpastes. Queen Hatshepsut, say that 3 times, of Egypt. Her temple, she ruled for 2 decades. In her temple, they have found murals that show sacks of frankincense resin and myrrh tree saplings. So that, for it to be on the inside of her temple, means that she held it in high esteem and high regard. The Greeks and the Romans also used myrrh. They felt like it was antiseptic and anti-inflammatory, and it had analgesic properties. They prescribed myrrh and frankincense for anything from chronic coughs, indigestion, to hemorrhoids, and halitosis. Actually, myrrh is a resin. What they do is they slash the tree and they wait for the resin to ooze out and then dry, and then they go break it off. And so they have this resin that they will either use as the resin, burn it. I have an incense burner here. I don't burn myrrh resin, I do burn frankincense resin. It can be chewed like gum. And or they can distill it with steam and then get the oil, which is the oil that we use today. From the Young Living website, Young Living is the only essential oil brand I will use. It says apply 2 to 4 drops directly to the desired area. Dilution is not required except for the most sensitive skin. Myrrh is a very soft oil, if I can say it that way. It's not a hot oil. And anybody that has really sensitive skin, I of course would dilute it with olive oil or something, but most people can apply it directly to their skin. And I like to put a drop of it in my moisturizer in the morning. You know, if they've been using it for thousands of years for skincare, it can't hurt, right? You can diffuse it. You can put it in your diffuser and diffuse it. Or you can just add it 1 drop with several drops of whatever fragrance you want to smell. Of course, essential oils, pure essential oils. And it'll help to fix that scent also. There have been some medical studies done. In 1996, a paper was published where they felt that myrrh actually might blunt the pain in mice. And then in 2009, there was another study that came out that suggests that myrrh might help lower cholesterol. Again, not making that claim. I cannot make any claims like that. All I can tell you is the research that I have found. So the essential oil of myrrh, this is what it looks like if you're buying the Oils of Ancient Scripture kit from Young Living. I mentioned earlier I will only use Young Living because I know how it's processed. I've been to one of the farms, not the Myrrh farm, but lavender and chamomile and things. Young Living has a seed to seal guarantee, and I will only use this even on my skin because my skin is the biggest organ in my body and I don't want to worry about how some other oil was processed. Young Living processes most of their own oils. So this is Myrrh. It does have a woodsy scent to it. I don't know if you can see. I had to use pliers to get the lid off because I forgot. You see how it's, although that dried stuff around there, it actually stuck the cap on and I had a hard time getting it off today. That was one of the reasons I was a few minutes late. So whenever you're using Myrrh, and you can use it, apply it anywhere you want, you know, just rub it in or smell it, put it in your diffuser. I've learned my lesson. You want to take some olive oil. I just dipped my finger in some olive oil and put it around the rim here and then around the side of the bottle here so that the cap won't stick when you put it back on. Otherwise, you might have a bottle of oil that you can no longer use. Anyway, Myrrh, my choice to add to my daily cosmetic regimen because of what it does. I've never used it to try to help mitigate stretch marks or anything, so I can't speak to that. Maybe somebody else has. Anyway, this is my first live about the ancient oils. That's the oil of myrrh. If you have any questions, make sure that you comment, send me a private message, whatever, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. I hope you all have a blessed, wonderful day. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I will see you tomorrow.